Today I have more of a history-related video. We're going to be examining the life of Marie Antonia Joseph Joanna, or Marie Antoinette, and specifically her representation in literature. An Austrian aristocrat, when she was only 14 years old, she moved to France and she became the wife of the future King of France, Louis XVI. From her arrival, French writers made attempts to capture what they observed. However, many personal biases, political propaganda, accepted rumors eventually led to her demise and her being executed. All these interpretations grew and they became widely accepted as truths. In fact, today we even accept many of her rumors, which I'll be taking a look at. We're also going to be examining two different versions of Marie Antoinette, the pampered Queen of France and the more modest Marie Antoinette. So I'll examine different authors and different genres. So who was Marie Antoinette? Was she an Austrian princess sent by her mother to destroy the kingdom of their enemies? Or was she simply just a gentle and generous character? Maybe she was a role model, or perhaps just a frivolous, feather-headed nobody who just used her power to buy diamonds and buy necklaces. For over 200 years, the pens that describe Marie Antoinette have never really stopped. So the number of times that Marie Antoinette has made an appearance in literature has become impossible to count. So she became greatly disliked by the public for her extravagant spendings, which included buying clothing, buying necklaces, spending money on gambling and partying and socializing. Her marriage was actually really difficult because her husband spent most of the time outside the palace. Therefore, she spent most of her time using the money in her extravagant tastes. And other things that ruined her reputation was also the diamond necklace affair, which is basically this scheme in which con artists claim to buy a diamond on credit of the queen, and she actually had no part on this deal, so it was basically not her fault at all, yet it still ruined her reputation. And there were also lots of gossips between her multiple relationships within Versailles. So as you can see, all these started ruining her reputation and later leading to the queen's demise. So in 1783, the French queen commissioned, excuse me for my pronunciation, Hamiao de la Reine to build her a small cottage or a peasant village in which she could basically pretend to be a peasant and do activities such as milk the cows, collecting eggs, or running around this small cottage. It definitely reminds me of the cottagecore aesthetic going around, because she used it as a way of escaping her life in Versailles and winning this more rural lifestyle, this more simplistic lifestyle, an idealistic one. So whether Marie Antoinette actually used this small cottage village to cosplay as a French peasant, or if she simply used it as a way to relax and escape her reality, it was definitely very unrealistic, because it truly depicted nothing of what a French worker or French peasant was like, working in intense labor and the miserable conditions. It was definitely very idealistic. I feel like the screenplay of Marie Antoinette perfectly represents the scene. I'll include the link in the description below, but basically it presents it perfectly because we have this beautiful scene, this paradise where Marie Antoinette is basically running and frolicking. However, it's truly unrealistic. They used to excessively perfume the sheep and the animals there. They used to clean the eggs so the queen and her child could enjoy the lifestyle of a French peasant. As I mentioned, I see lots of connections from the current cottagecore style and this lifestyle that Marie Antoinette was living, because now people really want to go live in a small cottage, but they really have no idea about the harsh labor work, which is definitely represented in the cottagecore aesthetic. It's really just for the aesthetic. Getting into some of the actual representations that she has had on literature, I'll be examining a book, A Scented Palace, The Secret History of Marie Antoinette's Perfumer. This book is basically the story of Marie Antoinette told from the perspective of her perfumer. Excuse me for my pronunciation once again, Jean-Louis Farjeon. Sorry. Basically offers more of Marie Antoinette's Antoinette's life. It talks about the fashion industry and the people that actually created the sort of glamorous interpretation of the queen. Perfumery was actually very well established in France already, so this book definitely offers a very interesting perspective. It was really about the more fashion details of Marie Antoinette's lifestyle and all her frivolous expendings and the fashion that she went through, the fashion, her closet, and the garments. So this book I'm actually currently reading, so I didn't finish it yet. However, it's called The Queen's Confessions by Victoria Bolt. So this one mixes both historical elements and fictional elements, so it's not 100% accurate. However, I love the way that they depict Marie Antoinette. I love how she basically has no idea of what she's doing here. She's very high-spirited, and she has these free-foot high hairstyles, garments, and everything. It definitely demonstrates her love for spending and how she was just completely reckless. She had no clue of what she was doing. She was completely unprepared. She had no idea how to rule. Well, let them eat cake. That's nonsense. I'd never say that. And that's actually true. Marie Antoinette, in matter of fact, never actually said let them eat cake, but that quote is frequently attributed to her. The phrase is actually used to encapsulate the very out-of-touch royals that came before Marie Antoinette, and it was actually first used in Jean-Jacques Rousseau's description of Marie Therese, which was the princess of Spain that married Louis in 1660. Another reason why Marie Antoinette would have never really said let them eat cake is because she's a very intelligent woman who donated to charity, despite her undeniable lavish lifestyle and her displayed civility towards the French population. And yes, although it might have been a bit insensitive for her to dress as a milkmaid or for her to dress as a peasant and role play as a peasant and heavily perfuming her goats, at least she genuinely did care about her people because she was trying to emulate them, she was trying to role play as them, actually feel what life was like for a peasant. At least she genuinely cared about her people. So another book, for example, is Marie Antoinette, The Journey. This book actually inspired the screenplay that later came on. So if you want to read this book, I'd highly recommend it. We actually see a queen that shows more than her simply just extravagant, self-involved, royal, out-of-touch self. And we see her more in touch with reality. We see her more as a human being. And this is a very interesting interpretation of the queen, so if you want to go ahead and read this book, I'd highly recommend it. So to really capture everything, I just wanted to mention that Marie Antoinette adopted rather than invented this very lavish lifestyle that was at Versailles. Many of the other Frank monarchs already had this extremely lavish lifestyle, and it was really all attributed to her because she was used as a scapegoat.